didn't have time to go over when we were covering the GIFs, which is an animation within an animation using Adobe Animate. So first off, you have Adobe Animate. If you haven't watched the first Adobe Animate lecture, please go back and watch it. I think I have it linked on Blackboard, or you can also go to the old course sites. Anyway, I'm going to pick out the full HD right here from the new file list and double click it. I can always make it smaller when I export it, but you can never make something bigger without losing resolution. Now, Animate is a vector-based program. I'm going to say fit in window. So that means that it is a mathematically based program, so that it isn't reliant on pixels. So you can make it very large, very small, much more easy than you can do something in Photoshop. You don't have to add pixels to it to enlarge it, in other words. But that being said, I still like to go to the full HD just if I can, you know? So the other thing I just did was I fit it in the window. We are in the basic workspace right here. That's what I'm going to work in. It's up to you if you want to explore some of the other ones, but basic will work for me right now. And I'm just going to show you a very quick tutorial on how to create an animation within an animation. So first thing you need to do is create a symbol of some sort. So a symbol can be anything. It can be any piece of artwork that you have. I'm going to pick out this oval tool right here. And I'm just going to draw out an oval. There we go. And then I'm going to go over here to my properties panel, and you'll see that my properties panel has the color of this oval and the style of the oval. So if I select this oval after I've drawn it out, I can change the color of it. I need to use the selection tool. I'm going to keep it red, and then also this is the transparency of the oval. So if I make it 100%, it's not transparent, but I'm actually going to leave it a little bit transparent, because when I upload it to Wix, I can layer them on top of each other, and they'll actually, look like pieces of transparent colored paper layered on top of each other, which could be a really cool effect. All right, so this is my oval, and now I'm just going to create some artwork inside of it. So you can either come here, or if you want to, you can go to the properties panel after you choose the brush to create, I'll just do black, and I'll make this not transparent. I'll make it 100%. And then this is how you control how big or small your brush is. And there's also another brush you can use right here if you want to have more control over the style. So if you want to make it look like ink or calligraphy or charcoal or anything like that. All right, so I'm going to, let's close that, draw on top of here. So I'm just going to draw a little round eyeball. And, oops, it went behind. So let me say undo classic brush. And what happens is sometimes you'll have this set to a paint behind or paint normal. I'm going to say paint normal. There we go. So basically in the properties panel of the brush, you can paint behind something, you can paint inside something, you can paint the selection, you can paint a whole bunch of things. It's very useful when you want to, say, fill in a character's shirt or something. You can paint inside the selection or behind the shirt. Anyway, so I had that set to the wrong one. So I'm going to say, I don't like that one. Let's go to this. I'm just Command-Zing to undo that. We'll go here, and we'll make a smiley face like that. It's kind of cute. And then I'll show you how paint behind is kind of cool. So we'll say paint behind, and then I'll pick out white, right? And then I can paint behind it. See, and it'll actually, it's painting behind the whole thing. So I'm going to have to say paint fills. Why are you doing this? Okay. Paint normal. Paint selection. Let's see. paint inside. Ah, okay. There we go. So paint inside, whichever one works. So it's painting inside of this object. So as you can see, it's just, why it's doing that. It's okay. I will work with your rules. I will adapt your rules. The other thing you can try to do is the paint bucket. There we go. So let me paint bucket that. Command plus to zoom in. And we can paint bucket these little areas. You just follow these rules and move along. Okay, so now I'm going to make sure this is on paint normal. And I will draw two little eyes. There we go. So there we have our little character. And it looks fine for right now. Now I'm going to select all of this character, everything, and then I'm going to press Control click and say convert to symbol. I'll call it head. I'll make sure that's a graphic symbol. If you choose movie clip or button, a movie clip will play only in the browser, so that gets annoying. And a button is actually something that's for HTML for website development. So I keep it to graphic and I press OK. So now we've got this little piece of artwork, right? And we can move it around. We can do all sorts of things that I showed you in the first Animate tutorial. Now, we don't have a timeline yet. We can't scrub through the timeline. So I'm going to go forward a little bit to 10 seconds. Press Control click, say Insert Frame, and now we have a timeline that we can animate this guy on. Now, one of the most basic, easiest ways to animate is the motion. So I'll do motion. Remember, Control click, create motion tween. And what that does is it just allows you to create motion, so I can move it over, and it follows along with you like that, so that you can create a sense of movement. It also works, by the way, with this. So if you want to, you can use it to even make it, you know, once it goes here, and then it goes here, and then I'll have it sort of wag its head back and forth. I just have to create like sort of subtle motion. Anything that goes off of this stage will not be in the animation, so I'm going to be careful to keep it on the stage. And then we'll go here, maybe move it back as well. So now it's just sort of rocking its head. Just sort of rocking its head. Now, if you decide at any point that this is like, I don't know if I really want to go to all the way to 10 seconds, you can cut frames. So I'm going to press Control click here, and I'm going to say Insert Keyframe All. See if I remember how to do this. Control click, and then say cut frames. Command Z. Control click. Move frames. Command Z. No, that's not going to work. So I'm just going to grab the end of this and pull it back. There we go. You know what? They made it a lot easier than they used to. I remember when this was more tricky, but I haven't played around with the new updated 2020 version of Animate in a while, so a little rusty. There we go. So now it's going to be right here. And it looks like a couple of these keyframes moved around when I did that. So one thing you can do is Control click, and I'm going to say clear the keyframe. Or I could also just make a new keyframe, but that's okay. I'll just keep going like this. It's not that important of an animation for me to be fussing around with it while you guys are watching. Okay. But so now we have this little animation that plays like this. And his head moves, wags back and forth. A little fast there. There we go. And that's fine. Just wagging back and forth. If I wanted to, I could sort of move this thing around and fuss with it, but we won't do that for right now. So now what if I wanted to make this character's eyes blink or his smile go up and down while he's doing that, right? Would I be able to actually draw on top of this frame by frame? Now Animate knows that that's not really possible. So what it does is it allows you a shortcut to doing that, and that's called a animation within an animation. So if I select this and then I double click, I get to what's called Untitled 2. And it says Head Scene. And if I click this back, I'm back in the scene. If I double click this, I'm now in the head. And it has its own little timeline, right? So this timeline is the timeline for this animation. And this timeline, and it will update in this animation. So let me show you how that works. So if I want to, I'm going to go to 1 second, Control click, Insert Frame, and then I can actually draw in a little frame by frame animation. So Insert Keyframe. So I'll make a keyframe right here, and then I can go on here and you can draw on whatever you want. So I'm going to draw this. Let me get rid of that. I'm actually going to draw this going down. So he's going to open his mouth like that. So it's going to go like this, right? And then I'll go a little bit forward. This is going to go very fast. But it says Insert Keyframe. And I'm going to draw these eyes partially closed. I'm going to press I for eyedropper. That's the eyedropper tool. That will make sure that I can pick out the exact color. I'll go back to the brush. And I'm going to brush in this color. There we go. This is going to be kind of a blink. There we go. Brush in that color. I don't want to be too fussy about it. Go forward a little bit. Control click, Insert Keyframe. I'm going to go even farther down. That looks weird. How about not? How about we have it, I'll just go like this. I'm making this up as I go along, so it kind of goes like doot, doot. Grab eyedropper again, eye, brush. I figure out what I'm doing. Just trying to extend it like that so it doesn't look quite so weird. Eyedropper, eye, B for brush, using the shortcuts. B for brush, using the shortcuts. Okay. And then what I'll do is I'll actually copy. So I'm going to come, so I don't have to draw all of that again to have it open its eyes. I'm going to come here, press Control click, and say copy frames, right? I'm going to come here to 20, Control click, Insert Keyframe, Control click, Paste and Overwrite Frames. Sorry. Control click, Paste Frames. There we go. So now it's going to paste what was on there. And then I'll come back here press Control click, insert keyframes, come back to the very beginning, Control click, copy frames, Control click, paste frames. There we go, perfect. So now it's going to open and close its eyes. So when I go back out here, guess what's going to happen when I play it? The animation is going to work. Now, it's not working perfectly. It looks like he needs to close his eyes. Not sure exactly what I was doing. Sometimes that happens. So I'm going to go to Control and say Test Movie. And I'll just say Test. And this way I can see if it really isn't working. And it isn't. So what I will do is just go to the very beginning again. Click, click. And figure out exactly what happened. So something happened in here, not too sure what, but obviously I need to redraw this. No big deal, I'll do it really quickly. Undo. By the way, if you want to make your brush bigger, you can use the brackets. There we go, I'm using the brackets. I for eyedropper, B, and I will just redraw that. Let's see if it'll work now. Sort of give it this, there we go. Doesn't have to be perfect. So now, okay, let's do that now. Go back and we can play it. Okay, great. So now it's working. So that is the animation within animation. Just a little quick tip. If you want to export this and put it into your Wix, all you need to do is go to File, Export, Animated GIF. You can name it right here. It's going to process for a little bit. I've got a lot going on my computer, so it might be a little slow. You see here the size. Usually something that's over about 1500 won't play. So this is a little too big. It's because I was using HD. But right in here, you see how huge it is? I'm just going to take that down to 1000 instead. So roughly about half. I'm going to say smiley. There we go. It's going to save as a GIF. I am going to select transparency. I think it just died on me right there. But I was going to select transparency. It did save. I just don't know if it's transparent. But so here is my GIF. Pretty funny. Pretty cute. Anyway, you would select transparency and then you would press export just to make sure that that transparency was created. Now it should automatically be set to play forever. If it plays only once, you would go back and export it. It takes 2 seconds, unlike video. Anyway, so that's your little animation within animation. Hope it helps.